yeah, I've heard this tune a whole bunch. I think this was one of the first pieces I put in the game. Thanks to Wikimedia Commons, which is a fantastic site. It's where all the Wikipedia images you get come from, because they've all been vetted. They're either Creative Commons licensed or they're public domain, which is really good when doing a game that has a lot of history. Oh, awesome. All right, everyone. It is 8 o'clock. So, welcome to the Vampire Therapist stream. I'm Cyrus Nemati. I will be your host today. I hope everybody has been having a fantastic Next Fest. There are a lot of amazing games out there. I want to give a shout out to some friends of mine over at Gentle Troll who are doing... sorry, I'm so flustered. I almost didn't get this stream running. Yeah, they're doing Tavern Talk, which is an amazing game. Like us, they're doing weird things with visual novels, so do check them out. I think they did their stream an hour ago, but I'm sure they'll do another one. But we are here for Vampire Therapists, so thank you all for tuning in. Feel free to ask questions in the chat as we go through with the stream. But otherwise, we'll just play the game and see what comes up. I am the writer and developer of this game. I also do a lot of the voice acting in the game, as you will hear when we get going. So, yeah, I'm really happy you're all here. We got 101 people now. Let's just get this game started. You can download the demo yourself so you don't have to hear me prattling on already, but for now, let's enjoy the show. All right, I gotta have a content warning because we go deep in this game. We get into some painful stuff, but we do it in a lighthearted, comedic way because these are all vampires. They're all dead, and that makes some of the hurts have worn down a little. But let's jump in.
My name is Sam Walls, and I'm a dead man.
That's right.
Well, kinda dead at least. See, I'm a vampire. Now, if you think that means all that Dracula hooey, like hissing, wearing skin-tight leather, and hunting mortals for sport, I wouldn't blame you one bit. That's exactly the sort of thing I did in my younger years with my former gang. And let me tell you, a vampire who's good with a gun can be a real terror.
This artist by Barbara Langa. She did all the background and environment art in the game, and
showed me how my thinking was key
she's
to
amazing.
Finding any kind of peace. After they passed on, I roamed America's majestic wilderness for nigh on 90
like
years.
the banjo in there. I wanted to have that mix of old world and new world in the music.
What I realized was
it's hard to figure out. I had to do it myself, which was painful. My sense of rhythm is not what it used to be.
Anywho, as the world started getting smaller, my old vampire gang tracked me down. Them being my kin, I wanted to help them see the world like I did, but they still have the same monster mindset I used to have. Good thing I'm a quick draw.
That's what I'm telling you.
But I got hooked up with this newfangled internet thing and found a vampire who's helping my kin find their way. Fella named Andromachos, supposed to be 3,000 years old. He invited me to come out to Europe to learn from him. I figure someone older than time has got to have the answers.
Used to have a computer just like that.
I'm going on a trip, I guess. This feels like my opportunity to do some good in the world. I've been looking, and now it's time to give back. Vampires ain't monsters. Or at least, they don't have to be. And come hell or high water, I'm gonna prove it to them.
And that's the introduction to our cowboy vampire. It wasn't always going to be a cowboy. Okay, music, stop. I gotta fix that. Don't worry about it. Analvia in Leipzig.
Well, I think this is the address. Number 27, Clean Flitter Mouse Streeb.
So, originally, the therapist was going to be the 3,000-year-old dude that you see in all of our materials, but he's 3,000 years old, and he's just so smart and has all this gravitas and learning. Oh, apparently people may not be able to chat. Let me go. I'll change a quick setting here and see what I can do. One one moment. Yeah, this won't take me too long, I hope. Robo streamer. Which window am I in? Okay, awesome. All right, 1 second, and hopefully we'll get up and running, and you can talk here. I'm new to this. I'm a solo developer working on this thing, and it has been quite a challenge, I will tell you. So just bear with me here, and we'll jump right in. Okay, community store. Which setting is it? There's so many settings in this thing. All right. Okay, and we'll go to my broadcast. I promise we'll get this sorted out, I hope. All right, and I think it's in here. And special settings and show chat by default. Darn. Everything looks fine on my end. Chat, broadcast chat. Okay, controls. Encourage your audience to engage with your broadcaster. You may decide to hide it. As far as I know, I can't disable chat for anyone. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. Oh, okay, people are talking. Okay, great.
Sure is
Sorry.
a lot of ruckus for this time.
Fantastic. Good
People
news.
stay up late here.
I hope you're enjoying the music. I wanted to have a real goth club feel. The reason the game is set in Leipzig is because it is the goth capital of Europe. I live in Berlin. So you'll see that the game is a real mix of this Berlin and Leipzig lifestyle, where Berlin is, you know, more sexy and more free generally. Like we have a real open-minded environment here, but Leipzig is where all the goths hang out. So we wanted to give them a good time. Okay, so yeah, this is why we are in Germany. I live in Berlin. I love it here. So, you know, this is very much a love letter to, you know, the cool things about living in this place.
Wait a minute. These folk are vampires. Better watch myself.
All right.
Guten Abend, folks. Sprechen Sie English?
This is how we speak German in this game.
Ja, hello, Alta. Are you here to party with us at the hottest club?
This is Matt Mercer. Thank you, huge thank you to Matt Mercer, who is probably not watching, but he was very patient. We had to learn some German here, and I had to teach him, even though I'm not a native speaker myself. I've lived here for 5 years, but I think my accent is better than my language. But he did a fantastic job. Okay, let's ask everything. Let's ask about the dress code.
It'll fit the dress code.
The cowboy look is totally sexy, but you will get a bit sweaty.
I like the breathiness that he put into the voice. I mean, this is just
I
fantastic.
hope we will all get a bit sweaty.
Good thing we run a little on the cold side, huh?
Get it, because they're vampires.
Don't worry, my Liebling. We make each other warm.
Reinhard, stop. Don't scare the American. I want to do that.
Maxi Liebchen, you're so naughty tonight.
No, you are the naughty one.
Oh, I definitely ain't an American no more.
Let's ask about the guy we're here to see.
I'm looking for Andrew Makos.
You mean the club owner? Ja, that is why we are here.
I love the delivery on that one. You know, just the casual, yeah.
If you're lucky, he will invite us to the private party at the end of the night.
Well, what happens there?
I think maybe it is too kinky for Americans to hear.
Only because we're barely family friendly on this stream, but we are. We're not gonna go. We're not gonna upset Gabe Newell tonight.
Well, what's so special about this club?
Immernacht is the greatest club aller Zeiten. The owner makes sure everyone has a good time.
If anyone acts without respect, they are banned from the club forever.
Oh, Jellybone, I'm excited to hear that the accent is passable, that it works, because we worked hard at it.
You are free to do and be whatever you like, as long as you are harming no one.
This is very much the Berlin ethos. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to be, you can do it, as long as you are harming no one. So, yeah, I like it here.
And I hear that they are now attracting sexy old cowboys.
Shh, Maxie, he is old enough to be your grandfather.
Sam is only he's around 200 years old, which is young for a vampire in the world of Vampire Therapist.
Oh, come on now. You're just flattering me. I'm only a couple hundred years old.
Oh mein Gott, he is so cute, Reinhard. Can I keep him?
All right, well, we're here to party, so let's party.
Loose. What kind of party is this?
The kind where we dance all night and get sexy.
Not too sexy for stream.
Oh, you're them kind of vampires.
Ach so, there are better things to suck than blood, oder?
Okay, maybe we're towing the line here.
Or so we have to get past the bouncer first. If we do not, I'm thinking our night is ruined.
Okay, so now we gotta glow because something weird is going on. This is the core of the game that's starting here already.
Oh, wait a sec. There's something about what she just said. I can feel it. It reminds me of one of my revelations about the funny patterns in the way we vampires think. Well, let's see. One type of thinking I noticed I called hot branding. That's when we brand ourselves with names we can't get rid of. There's high noon mind. That's when we treat a situation like it's a do or die showdown. And there's saloon thinking. That's when we act either helpless or invincible, like we've just drunk a pint of moonshine. I can always check my journal if I need examples. I kept all my notes about the funny ways we vampires think in there. I think I know which one of them funny ways they're thinking in, though. Hold on, compadres. You
Right.
seem like the kind who can make their own fun.
I don't want to have my own fun. Immernacht is the only place to be on Friday night.
All right, let's get into it. This is the real core of the game. What you are doing in Vampire Therapist is you are learning actual therapy. What you're learning is a cognitive behavioral therapy term known as cognitive distortions. What these are ways of thinking that don't align with what reality actually is. They may be defined by society, they may be defined by our insecurities, really anything that doesn't match with exactly what reality is. So in coming up with this game, I had to start out with some examples that a cowboy walking alone in the woods might come up with on his own. This is where we get these are still loud, I gotta fix that. Coming up with these cowboy themed cognitive distortions. And we can learn all about them in our handy dandy journal, which is going to teach us all about all the terms that are necessary for the game. So yeah, we separate these things into sections so we can look into the distortions. And so for high noon mind, let's skip ahead actually. Let's talk about saloon thinking and hot branding. So saloon thinking in more clinical terms is called a control fallacy. So, as it says here, a lot of us bloodsuckers have a habit of being either overconfident and thinking we can handle anything or being completely hopeless. The thing is, usually neither is true. We have more power than we think we do in dark times and less power when we think we're untouchable. Hot branding is a lot similar. It's in clinically termed, it's called labeling. It's when we call ourselves awful names. Like it says here, it's like burning ourselves with a big old branding iron. Every time we look at ourselves, all we're going to see is them names. So, self-name calling. It can be prophetic in a way. So, then there's high noon mind. This is what we're going into here. So, it says sometimes things can seem black and white. And indeed, it's called black and white thinking or polarized thinking in clinical psychology. Win or lose, famine or feast, live or die, everything's a big showdown. It can seem like we only got two options, win in the day or ended up with a stake in the heart. That is high noon mind. So, when we listen to Maxie's phrase here, she says, I don't want to have my own fun. Immernacht is the only place to be on Friday night. What she has done is made her evening a binary choice. It's either going to be a great night, because I get into the club, or it's going to suck, because I don't get into the club. This is not accurate. She can have a lot of good times. So what do? We tap the high noon mind here, and we slam her with that and say, no. The night is still young. You're gonna have a great time.
Amigos, you're putting too much weight on this thing. It's a nightclub, not a high noon showdown. The night's full of possibilities.
Just like that.
Reinhard, I don't know what this means, but I like the way the sexy American talks.
I keep turning because I can't see you unless I look at my other screen. Also, don't be shy in chat. Feel free to talk. Like, this is a weird, fun game. I want you to hear and have fun. I don't want to feel like I'm alone here, so please talk. All right.
You make us think that maybe it is better we haven't gotten into the club. because we are now meeting you.
I love how Matt Mercer stretches this out.
Hey, if meeting me makes your night better, I'm glad we met. I really gotta find Andromachos, though.
You have to get past the bouncer. He decides who gets in
Welcome,
and
gang.
who doesn't.
Glad people are showing up here and
He hasn't
chatting.
looked our way all night.
Oh, poor Reinhardt.
Maybe I'll have a little word with him. Excuse me, friend. I hear you're the man to talk to around these parts.
I had to have a Nosferatu type guy in the game, but I wanted to like be right on the edge because the game is set in the real world, so I think it could work. If you've ever seen people who have, surgically altered themselves a little, he passes. So yeah, I wanted him to be as close to real as I could get without being, I don't know, too silly.
I'm here to see Andromachos.
Have fun, mate.
Hey, thanks, amigo. You have yourself a fine night, you hear?
Cowboy, what about us?
I used to voice Reinhardt until I got Matthew Mercer to do him, and I'm glad I got replaced. I had too many roles in this thing anyway. Oh, what do you think? Should we bring them in? Or should we dash their hopes? Oh, you know what I'm gonna do, actually? Here's the thing. I've been watching a lot of people play the game on stream, and people are always afraid to pick the wrong choice. So that's what I'm gonna do here. Nothing will hurt. I grew up on games where there was never a punishment for picking the funny answer, so I'm gonna pick the funny answer.
Oh, but look at them. They're so earnest, like baby goats or something. I can't crush their dreams,
They're
can
pretty
I?
adorable. Oh, crush their dreams! Crush their dreams!
I can tell them vampires wanted to get into the book.
Well, you all are not gonna do it, so I'm gonna do it.
I bet they'd feel so betrayed.
I was begged to make this an option by playtesters to like actually reject them. So it's not my fault. It's someone else's fault.
You know what? I should let the bouncer do his job. Sorry, kids. We only just met, and I don't know you from Kane.
Ooh, not good.
Reinhardt, why is this sexy old cowboy being mean to us?
Why is he being mean to us?
Oh, it's okay, Maxie. Let us go home. We can listen to dark music and cry together.
Well, so if you want to cry, you can
You
cry.
promise?
Ja, come on, Liebchen. Let us go home.
So mean.
I think I might have
Oh,
broken their
okay.
hearts.
Alright, I'm gonna skip ahead from the cursing.
Tarnation, I'd rather hear a gopher giving birth than this. I better talk to whoever's slinging drinks in this here saloon. They ought to know where Andromachos is. But pardon me, ma'am.
Well, look at you. We get a lot of 80s fashion in here, but not usually the 1880s.
This is Crimson. She's voiced by Francesca Mo, who you may know as Eurydice from Hades. She just has such a cool and yet sophisticated and intellectual vibe that I was like, okay, this is where she needs to be. And it really influenced the direction of the character. I mean, she could have just been the bartender, but she had to become much more. When you play the full game, you'll see she's got a really interesting story. But
What can
let's
I
just
get you,
jump in for now.
cowboy? The special's Red Bull and vodka. You down?
I never drink.
She is mother.
Red Bull.
I get it. We knew what we were doing. This I never drink Red Bull joke, I'm gonna explain it to you all, because I'm 43 years old and nobody gets the joke, but I'm gonna put it in here anyway, because it's already there. In the original Dracula from like the 1935, 1940? Bela Lugosi is Dracula, and they offer him some wine, and he says, I never drink wine. I didn't actually get it from that. I got it from Dracula Dead and Loving It, the 1990s Mel Brooks version of Dracula. But I never drink wine. Well, we're in a club, so I never drink Red Bull. Anyway,
I'm actually looking for the owner. He around tonight?
Might be. What do you say your name was?
Sam Walls, begging your pardon.
Sam Walls, huh? I don't think I know anything about a Sam Walls. After all, I'm just a know-nothing bartender.
a know-nothing bartender. A know-nothing bartender. Well, let's see. We know that there's something wrong here. We got the little glow here. So let's look at our book. Let's look at our book and see. I'm glad someone appreciated Dracula Dead and loving it. The critics panned it, but I'm tempted to look at my phone and see what the movies of that year were, because I bet they're pretty cringe now. Anyway, so let's see. Saloon thinking. No, is it that? No, I don't think it is. Calling ourselves awful names. She called herself a know-nothing bartender. Well, let's challenge her, because I don't think that's true.
From where I'm standing, I see someone with style and confidence, not just a drink machine. Don't go branding yourself like that's all you are.
Don't you go worrying about me, cowboy. The man upstairs warned me you were coming. I was just testing to see if you are who you say you are. Tell you what, let me give you something from our special reserve. I don't think you're looking for booze.
Well, thank you kindly, ma'am. I was wondering where the blood was. I met some vampires outside, so I figured this was a vampire club.
You met some goths, honey. They're here to dance and have fun.
It was one of the earlier jokes in the game, is that I wanted to have goths that Sam thought were vampires. So, some things made it from the original first scripts, and that definitely stayed
So
in.
all these people are mortals?
How do you think the head vampire gets his blood? They can't wait to share it with him. It's a special experience. He's the only real vampire here. Well, him and Bert.
Gotta love Bert.
You met him already. Bert, shuffle on over here. This one's here to see the big guy. Show him upstairs, okay?
Have fun, mate.
Good luck up there, cowboy.
He's
Hope
a
you
fun
find
fella.
What you're looking for.
Alright, now the game really begins in earnest. This is where the work begins.
Howdy. It's Sam Walls to see you, sir. The guy who's been sending you all them V-mails.
If you're just joining us, we are playing Vampire Therapist, as you may know already if you're on the page. But if you're on the front page, this is Vampire Therapist. It is a game about therapy. We are learning real therapy concepts and applying them to historical vampires in a dark comedy goth club world. This is a weird one. So if you like weird ones, I think you're going to love this game. We're about to meet our teacher.
Yes, I know who you are, Samuel Walls. You have come here because you believe you can help our kin. The question is, are you first able to help yourself?
Bert is a party kind of guy, Boy Ranger. He loves the party. Okay, am I able to help myself? Well, this is really the fundamental of therapy, is are we able to help ourselves? Well, it's hard living in this world, so I'm going to do this.
I don't know that I can help myself, but I'm trying my best.
Then you have already learned the most important thing I can teach. We all need help, Samuel. I am pleased that you have come to receive mine.
I believe it. We all need help. We all need help. You know, living in this world is tough, and that's what this game is about. It's like, yeah, acknowledging that it's difficult, and how are we going to deal with it? How are we going to deal with the reality that is in front of us?
Dang, you scared the heck out of me.
You must allow an ancient vampire his games. He will play them regardless. Please, sit down. What an absolute pleasure it is to meet you at last. I found your messages most intriguing.
Afraid there ain't much here in the way of intrigue. I'm just a lonesome cowboy looking for answers.
So modest,
You
Cyrus.
know, I receive emails every day from vampires seeking my help. You are the very first to seek my aid in helping others.
Well, dang. I think you're gonna be sorely disappointed when you get to talking to me. I'm just honored you're giving me the time of night.
We tried to go light with the fangs, you know. We got a really interesting style. If you played Sea of Solitude, you may recognize some of the talent of Zabilla Hell, who did the character art for this game. And this was a real challenge. Doing something that felt human, but was still clearly comic, is a really hard line to toe. But I think we did it. I love our style. I really, really love it. And I hope you enjoy it as well. And yeah, Korikato. We designed Andromachos very purposefully.
I have unlimited time, Samuel. I am pleased to share some of it with you. Our kind can be rather set in their ways. It is inspiring to see someone so young and eager to learn.
Yeah, 200, young.
Yeah, well, I wasn't much for learning when I was alive. Just making up for lost time, I guess.
It sounds as though you have been handling your own life better than most. I was particularly intrigued by these revelations you had while walking in nature.
Welcome, Sam and Aurelia. I'm glad we've got a nice crew going here. We got 358 viewers. If you want more people to check out Vampire Therapist, just tell them we're doing the live stream now. We're on the Steam big stage. This is a time to celebrate this quite cool game, if I do say so myself.
Oh yeah, them. Well, I give Walken the credit. Nothing sorts my thoughts out better. After a few decades, I started seeing patterns in the way we vampires think.
Can you explain some of these patterns?
I've tried to explain them to other vampires, but it ain't never gone well. I can try, though. See, we tend to assume certain things just because we've been believing them since we were alive.
Tracks?
Or we decide the world's against us just because we're hungry or tired or something.
It's another therapy fundamental. If you are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, the acronym is HALT. Then you are not going to be able to think in rational ways. So, usually, taking a nap, eating something, those are big benefits. So, I recommend them, even though I don't do them myself.
And when we start tackling problems that ain't real, we ain't fixing our real problems. That make any kind of sense?
Yeah, you tilt at windmills, as they say, once you are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Yeah, hangry, by Ranger, that's exactly it. So, it actually matters. It does a lot for our psychology to eat real food.
Fascinating, Samuel. These revelations that you had in the woods, mortal psychologists have a term for them. They are called cognitive distortions.
Now we're getting into it.
Cognitive who's what now?
I know, you're thinking the same thing.
Cognitive distortions. They are exactly as you described them. I will explain in a moment. Please, tell me about these specific revelations you had.
Start from the top.
Well, I noticed how we stress ourselves out by making everything a battle of do-or-die absolutes. High noon mind, I call it. Like that feeling you get right before a big shootout.
I must confess I have no experience with this feeling. I engaged in Mortal Kombat long before the age of gunpowder.
I needed a guy who has seen it all. And Andromachos is that person. He has done a lot of bad stuff in his past, has seen a lot of history. That allowed me to go into the real historical backgrounds of everything.
But the sentiment you describe mirrors the words of my old friend Marcus Aurelius. He used to say that the magnitude of life's challenges often turn us into our worst selves.
You mean Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor?
Of course, his name was Marcus. Marcus was a bedroom name.
Why not? Why not have him in a relationship with Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor?
You mean you and the emperor were...
It was ancient Rome. Penetration was similar to a handshake.
You like that one? If you're just joining us in stream, this is Vampire Therapist, and this is the level that we're operating on.
My apologies. I somehow forgot you were American.
Sorry, Gabe Newell.
Discuss this high noon mine. I believe we can
We're fine.
in your definition. Mortal psychologists call this phenomenon of binary thought polarized thinking, but I like to call it Nosferatu thinking.
We've got this updated now, so now we've got our updated terms in the journal.
Nosferatu thinking?
It means you are thinking in black and white.
I get it. That's pretty funny.
I believe it encompasses the breadth of the distortion. One is not flatly weak or strong, good or evil, smart or stupid, a success or a failure. The truth is far more complex and colorful.
And I'm telling you, dear audience, 374 people, you do this. You definitely do this. We all do this. This type of binary thought where, like, if we don't get what we want, we feel as though we've gotten nothing. And it's not true. It's not true. They're like middle ground can sometimes be difficult for us to accept, but we'll feel better because it's more honest.
Not every high noon
Exactly, by
gunfight
Ranger.
ends in
More
oblivion, correct?
complex, colorful, and fruity.
But yeah, that's true. Getting shot still ain't fun, but it ain't the end neither.
A perfect example, Samuel. Now, try to catch me using Nosferatu thinking. I will give you a series of statements, and one of them will contain Nosferatu thinking. I will repeat them if you miss it.
This is our clever tutorial here.
If I do not drink blood, I will surely die.
All right, if I do not drink blood, I will surely die. I don't hear a lot of middle ground in this. Either you drink blood or you die. So let's see what happens.
Is that Nosferatu thinking?
No, Samuel. In this case, I am not arguing with reality. If we do not drink blood, we die. This is a fact of being a vampire.
So in this case, drinking blood is something vampires have to do.
Let us continue. Death eventually comes for us all.
Interesting. Death eventually comes for us all. There's no middle ground here? I mean, as vampires, aren't we in middle ground?
Well, that sounds like Nosferatu thinking. That's pretty black and white. We've cheated death ourselves.
Although this thinking is binary, it is also true, and therefore not a distortion.
Something to bear in mind.
And death has already come for us, my friend. We simply cling to life. Please, let us try another. Mortals will always fear our kind.
Okay, this one. We've enjoyed our fair share of vampire media. We know that sometimes mortals and vampires can get along, so there is a middle ground. They're not just killing each other, or staking each other, or biting each other all the time.
That's Nosferatu thinking right there. I've met mortals who knew who I was and weren't scared.
Very good, Samuel. And even if you hadn't, to say mortals will always fear us ends any hope that they might not.
You got it, Sam. That's the one.
Always is such a terminal word, is it not?
You know, terminal, because death.
Would you like to discuss more of your revelations with me?
Sure, let's do it.
I realize that as vampires, we can get the feeling of the power that comes with immortality and strength, but then we get hopeless and aimless over time.
We're half past the hour. For everyone just joining us, this is Vampire Therapist, where we are using therapy on the immortal undead and finding that their issues are not so different from ours, even though they've been around a long time, because human issues have been human issues, well, for a long time. So let's do it.
It's kind of like the fella you see in the saloon at the bottom of a bottle of whiskey. Either he thinks he can fight everyone, or he's crying into them last drops because he thinks life's hopeless. It's saloon thinking. Two extremes that probably ain't true.
All control, no control. Usually it's somewhere in the middle.
A fascinating observation, Samuel. Your saloon thinking was described in my time as the battle between hubris and nemesis, the twin excesses of arrogance and self-pity.
Or like this game of Vampire Therapist, highbrow and lowbrow at the same time. That's how we do it.
Oh man, it make me wish I'd gotten some schooling. Maybe I would have figured this stuff out earlier.
You live forever, my friend. There is no rush. What you have identified is a phenomenon where individuals perceive either an illusion of control or a lack of control.
I want to point out my character artist, Isabella Hell, who I hope is watching. The hands are so good. The hands are amazing. You know, hands are really hard from an art perspective, but we have good hands in this game.
Modern psychologists call this phenomenon you have described a control fallacy. Rarely do we have complete power over our situations or no power at all. But we create this illusion that stops us from attempting to change our perceived situations.
I have been there. I have been there many a time, where everything feels like there's nothing I can do. I've worked in the game industry for a little while, and if any of you have ever been in it, not good, and you can feel pretty helpless. But it's not true. It's not true.
Yeah,
There's
you're
a lot
right
we can
about
do.
that. I used to think I'd never get away from my gang. And maybe that's what made me stick with them for so long.
Yes, you see how cognitive distortions keep us from facing reality, whatever that reality may be.
That's another core of this game. Is that if we know what our issues are, we can address them. And that's what distortions prevent us from doing.
Of course, I am so old and powerful that I am always in control.
Well, it sounds like a control fallacy right there. I mean, as powerful and good-looking as he is, that's a control
You're
fallacy.
testing me, ain't you? That's a control fallacy right there.
Well done, Samuel. I am indeed very powerful, but the cosmos holds no awareness of Andromachos. Of course, as you expertly pointed out with your analogy about the man at the bottom of a whiskey bottle, a control fallacy can be positive or negative.
We just hit 400 concurrent viewers, so welcome everyone. You're in for a
Listen
ride.
to my next few statements and try to find a control fallacy. Simply let me continue if you do not detect one. The sun will eventually burn out. I will roam a cold, dead earth, and there is little I can do about it.
In making this game, I really wanted to think about what are practical realities for vampires. And I thought climate change is actually going to affect them quite a lot. If we have sunnier days, if we have days that are, well, the end of days, they're still going to be around here. And they're going to be around when the sun disappears. They're going to have to get blood some other way. But Let's see what happens. Is this a control fallacy? Is there nothing we can do about the sun turning into a what are you, going supernova? Nah.
Well, that sounds like one of them control fallacies. With all eternity, heck, I think you could do something to save the sun.
Glad to see more people in chat. Don't be scared to ask questions. We are a very welcoming and warm game, even if we get a little weird sometimes.
I applaud your optimism and ambition, Samuel, but some things we must be prepared to accept, and the death of the sun is one of them. But let us continue.
Even a
My
vampire
kitty
can't
cat
stop that.
died. I shall be lonely forever.
His kitty cat died. He'll be lonely forever. Well, that's kind of sad. Let's do that one.
I'm sorry about your sweet kitty, but you could always pick up a new one. Or there's lots of them just waiting for a loving home, so you don't need to be lonely.
It was just an example, Samuel. Well spotted. But I do speak from experience. I felt this way once when a pharaoh I was dating had our cat mummified.
I would be mad too, I would say.
I went into a murderous depression that nearly decimated the continent. But I had the power to help myself all along by adopting a new friend in need of a home.
DJ, the goal of the game is to help other vampires find inner peace. You will have a number of clients coming into the game, and all from different eras of history, and you will be able to help them gain a little self-acceptance.
Oh, dang, don't let me get on your bad side.
Yeah, there's some cat stuff in there. A lot of therapists tend to have cats because the nice thing about cats is that they set really good boundaries. If a cat doesn't like you, it will let you know. They are not so obsequious. So, yeah, we should all set boundaries like cats.
I doubt you shall see it, Samuel. Did you have more revelations to tell me about?
All right, one more.
See, I used to be in a gang. They were my whole existence. If you asked me who I was, I would have said, I'm
Most
a
welcome,
murdering
DJ.
bastard. Once I got away, I realized how small-minded that was. I was Sam before I was a murdering bastard, but that's how I was choosing to brand myself.
So what we have in Sam's history is that he was part of a gang, and they all were indoctrinated into this gang that was generally awful, and he was able to escape. He was able to find different perspectives, so now he wants to help others gain another perspective, which is why he has come here to Leipzig to learn therapy from a 3,000-year-old vampire.
My old gang's still around, and they're still branding themselves like that. They can't see themselves as anything but killers.
You'll get to meet the gang in the sequel if the game does well, but I'm thinking they are now an American health insurance company.
Very astute, Samuel.
That's a
I favor
spoiler
the
for you.
clinical term, however, which is labeling.
Yeah, now we've seen our labels have changed here, so that we always know what's going on.
You correctly discovered that labeling is a reductive act. When we call ourselves names, even if we find them accurate, we create prophecies we are doomed to fulfill.
So don't call yourselves names, my friends.
For millennia, I thought of myself as a killer. It was not untrue that killing was how I made my way in the world. I was an unstoppable warrior and assassin.
And everything in between. Probably had a gigolo period, I'm sure. But we won't go into that.
But with this
His history
I
is
lived
3,000
with
years.
myself for ages.
So I got a lot of content that we could go into with this
I
guy.
also killed potential aspirations I might have had. See whether you can catch me doing some labeling in my next few statements. I am so old, I am ancient.
Well, that sounds like labeling. He's calling himself ancient. Let's call him out on it.
Oh, come on. I know you've been kicking around a long time, but don't go labeling yourself as ancient.
But according to definition, I am ancient. It is not a label, but a specific classification of my age.
Huh. Well, you look pretty good for being ancient then.
The secret is moisturizer. But let us continue.
Also true. I don't use moisturizer, which is why I look like this.
Call me whatever you like, but don't call me late for dinner.
Again, one of the things about this game is that it is a, I don't know, warm and welcoming learning tool. I don't want you to ever be punished for picking the wrong answer, which is why I have joke answers, and you can click them and you will never get punished for it. You'll sometimes get funny answers. So obviously this is not labeling, this is just a silly joke, but let's click it.
Late for dinner? That's labeling. Kinda reductive to boil yourself down to being late for dinner.
Late for dinner is not a label, Samuel. It is a temporal situational description. And a joke almost as old as I am.
Dang.
Do not be discouraged, Samuel. Let us continue. How shall I describe myself? Yes. I am a mass murderer.
Easy one. Let's do it.
Well, that's about as clear a labeling as it gets. Yeah, we vampires tend to do a lot of killing, but reducing ourselves to killers ain't doing us any favors.
Excellent, Samuel.
See, reductive.
You are correct. Labels
We are
can be
more
cages that we
than
lock
any
ourselves
label
in.
that we can come up with.
I was a mere murderer for most of my existence because that is how I labeled myself.
As our dear friend Andromachos says.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Sam Walls, the murderer, reprobate, and good for nothing.
Those are not how I would describe the Sam Walls I see before me. Did you have more revelations to tell me about?
I think that's all of them. Or at least the ones that were the most obvious to me.
That you recognize the concept of cognitive distortions at all is most impressive, Samuel. What took me nearly 3 millennia to understand took you merely 2 centuries.
Only because the art of psychology and the study of psychology is really only about 170 years old. So, 200 years ago is a good time to die. If you became a vampire before then, you're probably going to struggle for a long time, and that's exactly what happened to Andromachos.
Oh, come on, you're just flattering me. I'm just a dope stumbling his way through one life.
Are you now? Tell me, Samuel, what kind of cognitive distortion are you exhibiting when you call yourself a dope?
Yeah, we've got a few layups early in the game.
Yeah, I'm doing some labeling. I gotta watch myself, huh?
As long as we retain any humanity, we will have cognitive distortions. What we are aiming for is not to become perfect beings, but to understand and accept ourselves. As long as we can recognize cognitive distortions, we can address our real challenges.
This is what it's all about. And if you are just joining us, we're playing Vampire Therapist. And what we're doing in this game is we're identifying cognitive distortions, ways of thinking that aren't aligned with reality. But this is the real meat of it, is if we can identify our distortions and our problems more accurately, that's when we can start actually addressing them. In playing this game, I'm not going to guarantee it, but I will say that you will be able to recognize these distortions in yourself. I've been playing the game for 1.5 years now, and at this point, I am able to catch myself doing a lot of these things fairly quickly. And then I do it in the voice. I say, "Oh, Cyrus, you're doing some labeling, and that's a control fallacy." It's really nice. I feel like I have much more awareness of my own issues at this point. And I have lots of them. And you do, too. So, wishlist the game. Buy it when it comes out. It'll be a good experience. It's only going to be $15. It's really cheap. So, I think that's the maximum I can charge for it. And I want everyone to play it anyway. So please play it. I love you.
One cannot drink blood from a straw man, after all.
Huh. I ain't never heard that one before, but I like it.
I think I ran over that line, but I like it too.
If it helps solidify the concept in your mind, then I am well satisfied.
I'm glad you're picking up on it, Sam. Yeah, the should statements are definitely one that I do for myself. There's a. I wish that I had started games earlier. I wish that I had been writing earlier. I should have been doing voiceover earlier, but those are my shoulds. The universe doesn't care about my shoulds at all.
I know you came to learn from me, so I will do my best to honor your good intentions. Let us ensure that you understand the concepts of labeling, control fallacies, and Nosferatu thinking. I will give you a series of statements, and each one will contain a cognitive distortion for you to identify. I will begin. If I invite over my vampire friends, I know I'm going to have to deal with guano all over the place when they turn into bats at the end of the night.
See, no other vampire game goes into this kind of detail. We never talk about bat guano. But they're bats. Where are they going to do their business?
Well, there's a control fallacy, sir. You're acting like you've got no control, but you could lay down some ground rules for guests, or some newspaper.
Or express concern to my friends that they have not been toilet trained. Very good, Samuel. Let me try another. I am Andromachos, the ancient darkness, the scourge of the Mediterranean, the mortal's bane.
Let's pick a wrong one just to see what happens.
Oh, wait a minute, he's branding himself with awful names. What was that distortion called?
All right, we're gonna just a
I am
little gentle
Andromachus,
encouragement here.
The ancient darkness, the scourge of the Mediterranean, the mortal's bane.
Well, that's definitely some intense labeling. Those are some hard names to get over.
Proxy asks, do vampires in human form poop, though? This is actually an established part of my vampire lore, because this is the kind of game that we're talking about. I tried to base vampire physiology based on science to some level. Like, I wanted to say, why do they need blood? Well, they need it to power the organs that they have. How do they keep moving? They need to supply blood to their muscles, to their brain. And if they can't get it normally, what does food do? In my world, they don't digest. So whatever they take in is going to come out exactly the same. I'm not going to go into big detail in this one because we're on the Steam big stage, but, let your mind wander and think about the fact that vampires have to be really careful about what they eat, because they're going to have to deal with it a second time.
You are not wrong. Those names followed me for millennia. It was most stifling. But if my club's revenues do not significantly increase, I will end up living on the street.
That doesn't sound right. There's got to be a middle ground here.
That there's got to be Nosferatu thinking. There's a huge space between making a ton of profit and living on the street.
Indeed, you are correct. I run my club at a considerable loss. But 3,000 years
So
of
welcome.
banking
I'm here to
interest
answer the
means
weird
that money
questions.
is not really an
Please
option
chat
for me
if
anyway.
you have any questions about this game. Do not be shy. I do not bite, but you will be doing the biting in this game. So feel free to join in and ask questions. I'm really happy you're here. We've got almost 500 viewers at this point. I am delighted you are here for this Steam Next Fest, where we are playing Vampire Therapist. It's an exceptionally weird game, but you will learn a lot about psychology and something about yourself in the process. So I love my own game. I think that's important for any developer. Love your game, and what comes out on the other side is going to be, something to be proud of. DJ asks, have you worked with psychologists when you've been creating the game? Yeah, we actually worked very closely with a licensed therapist. We have a main consulting therapist that we use that goes over all of the questions in the game to say, are we representing these terms correctly, and are we representing all of them? Oftentimes, a statement will have multiple cognitive distortions in it, so we had to be really careful about making sure that we caught all of them and that we were handling the material in a sensitive way. It also means that I had to learn a lot of psychology best practices. Like, for instance, when you have a cognitive distortion, but it is a positive one, like if you say, I don't know, I should be proud of myself, that's not a should statement, because it's something positive. So I had to learn a lot of these particularities of cognitive behavioral therapy, but it was a really cool experience, and working with therapists was fantastic. We work with historians as well. If you play the game, you'll get to dig into the real history of characters, which is super exciting. For a history nerd myself, and somebody who didn't do well in school but still likes academia, and our game is very dark academia themed, you can see as well. It was amazing. It was so cool to get to work with, smart people.
Samuel, now I am not only intrigued by you, but also impressed. I would very much like to teach you my ways, but I must demand something of you first.
Anything. I'm here to learn.
You must receive therapy yourself. I will not have you seeing clients without a commitment to your own mental health.
Oh, now, hold on just a minute. I don't know that I need therapy. I'm feeling pretty good about myself these days.
Samuel, we all need therapy to live in this world. You have been speaking in cognitive
Yes, my
distortions
ranger,
since
sleep
the
is
moment
good.
you walked into my office.
Sleep. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. It's the T. So sleep. Tomorrow will be a good day.
I have. I didn't even notice.
They are most insidious, but I am here to help you identify and challenge them. You have walked alone for too long, Samuel. Allow me to share my experience with you.
Well, all right, if you say so. I appreciate your taking the time to work on this, old cowpoke.
We have all the time in the world, Samuel. But for now, you must be eager for something fresh. Please, dance, drink your fill. We will begin tomorrow.
Okay, then. Well, sir, it's been an honor.
You don't have to call me sir, you know.
All right, then, Andromachos.
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 Hey, Andromachos.
Just call me Andy.
There's a lot of language jokes in this game, language and accent jokes, because as an American living abroad, this is what I live on. Kadokato asks, how did you get the idea of making this game? What inspired you? This will surprise you, but Twilight was actually a big inspiration, because there's a part in the movie where Edward Cullen starts playing the piano, and the music swells, and the camera swirls around him, and you're supposed to be like, oh, wow, this guy's only, how old is he supposed to be in the thing? Like 16, 17? Who knows what the hell he's supposed to be. But anyway, he's supposed to be really good because he's been playing for 200 years. And the music is actually kind of eh. But then I thought, why should he have the pressure of being really good at the piano just because he's 200 years old? It doesn't make any sense. But then I thought about more of these should statements that a vampire would encounter. Like, why not go to Mars? Why not go to the bottom of the ocean? Why not write the next great novel? Why not cure cancer? Because they have forever. The excuse of I don't have enough time is removed completely. And that's a lot of pressure on a vampire. If you are 400 years old and all you're doing is biting people's necks and hanging out in sexy clubs, what are you doing with your time? And this must weigh on a vampire. There's so much that can be explored with vampires, and usually we don't delve into the actual immortality bits of being undead. That's what I really wanted to dig into in this game. So that's a little of the background there.
All right, Andy. I'll see you tomorrow then.
Okay, now we are going to the club. We're going to have a good time.
Dang, look at all them mortals, sweating, blood pumping. I am thirsty, but there ain't no power on this earth that'll get me on a dance floor. Maybe I'll see if the bartender's got anything for me.
If it isn't Clint Eastwood again.
The name of this tune is called Dance with the Bats. I licensed it, but it's by some I don't remember the artist's name, but the title and the tone, this is perfect. And I love bats. The company name is Little Bat Games. Got my bat shirt here because I love bats. All right, Crimson, let's see what's going on.
Seems I'll be sticking around. Guess I'd better get used to things around here.
Good to hear. About time someone helped Andy with his work. Seems you vampires have a lot of problems to fix. Name's Crimson, by the way.
Fine meeting you, Crimson. How do you know so much about what Andy's doing?
Pillow talk. I'm his blood partner.
Secrets.
No shit. How's a mortal?
I'm a
We're gonna skip any time I use any blue language, just so the Steam gods don't get mad at me.
Climbing a mountain, and there he was, naked in a hot tub.
Who would mind?
Dang. Must have been a sight.
You ain't kidding, cowboy. Didn't expect a luxury apartment with a gorgeous naked vampire inside of a mountain.
I definitely had the Geralt in the bathtub in mind when I was thinking of this scene in my head. You don't see it in the game, but that's how I imagine it, so you can imagine it that way as well.
We hit it off, and he asked me to come back here with him. I like an adventure, so I said, what the hell? I'll date the gorgeous Dracula.
It is very rude to call a vampire a Dracula. She's dating one, so she can do it lovingly, but don't trot that out if you ever need a vampire. They don't like it.
But what are you doing talking to me, cowboy? The blood's running hot on the dance floor, and these kids don't mind a little biting.
There ain't no way I'm dancing. There's gotta be a better way to get something fresh to drink.
We'll learn about Sam's dancing issues later in the game.
Reinhard, look. It's a mean, old, sexy cowboy who rejected us earlier.
So I remember that we kicked them out, so it's a little something.
I wasn't trying to ruin your night. I don't know how things work around here, and I didn't want to breach goth club etiquette.
You can buy us drinks to make it up to us. You might even get lucky.
We are feeling forgiving tonight. Very forgiving.
Pleasures of the flesh ain't exactly what I'm after tonight.
That's because you haven't been with us yet. Buy us a drink, and you will discover great satisfaction, Byons.
This is another one of these cases where I'm trying to... Yeah, I kicked them out because no one else does. And I want to, stress that you will never get punished for wrong choices in this game. You're here to have fun, learn a little something about vampires, about yourself, and if there's an answer that's funny, I want you to be able to click it. This is one of these points where I'm trying to communicate to players that there's never punishment. So we can say anything, and they're always going to forgive us.
I ain't buying you a drink. You ain't exactly my type.
Oh, we don't want to marry you. We just want to have fun with you.
For our new players, Matthew Mercer is voicing Reinhardt. He did great. Picking up on the German accent was a challenge. I've had to do Klingon for a game before, and that was a nightmare. So, still, German is not quite as tough as Klingon, but it's definitely a challenge.
You kids are too much. I ain't buying you a drink. This stuff's terrible for you.
Are you making a joke? We are at a bar.
It's okay. He's just trying to be protective. Aren't you, Opa?
Oh dear.
You know, I think the drinks here ain't strong enough for you two. I ain't buying you a drink. All I got are good old-fashioned dollars.
I like American money. All we have on our money are buildings. You have all the sexy old men.
We just crossed 500 viewers. Welcome to Vampire Therapist, where we're getting super weird up in this piece.
Right, I'll bite. Which of them old men are sexy?
I like Hamilton. His posture is just so powerful.
Sure.
There is a dollar coin that has Eisenhower's face on it.
Oh, you are right. Eisenhower is, how do you Americans say, a snack?
I get it. You like older men.
Yeah, this is dialogue you ain't gonna find anywhere else. I'll tell you what.
I ain't buying you a drink. I think I'd be insulting your economic status.
Mein Lieber, don't worry about us. We just like to feel special. We have lucrative jobs in IT.
Of course they do.
Oh, yeah? Well, maybe you can help me. See, my printer died again. Getting real tired of these things.
Please, we are here to party. But get a laser printer.
That one is true. Get a laser printer. Listen to the sexy IT goths. They do have valid things to say, despite being quite pushy.
Well, thanks for the tip. That ink seems to be more valuable than blood. Well, these kids just ain't gonna leave me alone.
Alright, well I guess we gotta buy him a drink.
Stop teasing the cowboy, Kinder. They're just messing with you. Drinks are free here.
Dang, really?
Curious.
Ain't never been to a saloon with free hooch.
Call it a drink exchange.
Huh. So, everyone here knows they might be sharing blood?
Only as long as there's consent. We like to create a safe environment here.
See? Nope, no stress, no pressure in this game at all. Consent first. Consent first. Beginning with your consent to wishlist and purchase Vampire Therapist, which I sincerely hope you will, because then we can make sequels. Oh yeah, nice subscriber
Why don't
viewer
you
bump.
take Reinhard and Maxie here back to the kink room?
Yeah, we're going there. We're on the Steam main stage, but we're going to a kink room.
Wait, kink room?
Mm-hmm. You're not in Kansas anymore, cowboy.
Don't worry,
We are
Gabe.
not afraid of sex.
It's gonna be alright.
I'm from Missouri, but point taken.
Nobody has to do anything they don't want to do in there.
See?
Just
Consent,
have
we're
fun
fine.
and drink your fill, handsome. I'm sure I'll be seeing plenty. Maxie,
Oh.
Reinhard, this is one of our special customers.
Ach so, ein Vampir. I'm thinking we are all getting lucky then.
There will be DLC. Worry not.
My next
I have
throbs with
interesting plans for it.
anticipation.
Dang.
But I have to be able to
Guess
afford
I'm
it.
going to a kink room then.
So please,
Crimson?
wishlist the game, buy the game. Vampire Therapist.
No man who wore this much leather couldn't be boring.
Yeah, well, you got me pegged.
Is that what we are doing now? Give me the document and I will sign myself up for it.
We take risks here. We're not kicked off yet. I can see we still have 500 viewers, so Steam has not kicked us off yet.
Well, I really ain't in Missouri no more. Look, I'm more into biting.
Oh, your teeth look perfect. Are you going to bite me with those?
That's the plan. Who's going first?
Oh, me.
He really wants to be bitten.
Well, step right on up.
Okay, so I'm gonna add some instructions to this in a little bit, but in this minigame, we need to bite veins. Ideally, we want to bite this one. This is the anterior jugular vein. I did some research to see if a vampire didn't want to kill someone, where would they bite? But, you know, what happens if you do get it wrong?
Du Dummkopf, du hast mir in die Arterie gebissen.
That was a hard one.
Well, quit moving.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Das hat
I
sich
misclicked there.
gut angefühlt.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Is it my turn yet?
Well, sure thing. Come on over.
Yeah, the blue ones. I'll add instructions on that soon. Of course, we'll have obstacles in the game.
Can't you take that dang collar off?
No, I like it. Try again.
There's a funny line. Let me do it again.
Can't you take that dang...
Oh, not that
No,
one. That
I
one
like
repeats.
it.
Do it again.
Try again.
Dang it, that collar's in the way.
Or the challenge makes it more fun.
There's one more line. I want to get it.
Try again, lieber. I am hotter unter the collar.
I like that one.
Yeah, I'll try to remember that.
All right, let's bite her vein. Actually, no, let's bite her artery.
Ouch! Meine Arterien!
That's a joke. All of them, if you bite their arteries, they say, ouch, my arteries.
Dang it, let me try that again.
Oh, Reinhard. The hot old vampire wore me out.
Me too, Maxi. I feel as though I have set up a mail server.
Not easy.
Reinhard, Liebe, ich bin zu müde, sexy zu sein.
I will get us a taxi cab, Liebchen. Und du, Cowboy? Next time we will talk about that thing you mentioned earlier.
Oh yeah, sure thing, fella. You can help me with my new laser printer. Now that I've had something to drink,
Well.
I should probably get to my coffin.
They're done with that.
Samuel, wait a moment. I see you got your fill. Are you heading out?
Yeah, I figure I could use some shut-eye. I locked up my coffin over at the storage center.
Storage center. Please, you can use my guest coffin. I insist. You must be well rested for the challenges ahead.
Guess I got a big night tomorrow, huh? I should get a good day's sleep.
Wonderful. Please, follow me.
Well, dang. This is mighty plush. Guess it's one of them smart coffins.
The coffin is where you will retreat between sessions, and you'll be able to see it evolve over time as you work with your clients. So I wanted to make it a really cozy place. I wanted it to be like, I don't know, just a place where a vampire can really relax. I mean, so many of them just sit in a box, but why not be dead in comfort?
Let's see what's on TV.
Also, it is 9 o'clock now, so I believe we're no longer on the main stage. This will get a little bit more private now, but feel free to stick around. We'll be here for the next hour playing the Vampire Therapist demo. If you are going on to check other streams, do make sure to wishlist our game, buy it when it comes out. We have a lot of plans for this story and for this IP, so I'd really appreciate your support. But we'll keep on going. There's more fun to be had. We are playing Vampire Therapist, if you just joined us, where we are helping vampires with their eternal issues.
Hey, I remember this movie. We were so proud to finally get some representation.
This is indeed Nosferatu. It's too loud. I'll fix it.
Not sure I should stay up watching movies, though.
Ruh-roh. Yeah, we'll see them rise. Yeah. Public domain.
Ain't much else to do in here. I think it's about time I hit the hay. Hope I'm cut out for all this.
All right, let's do some more therapy. Let's get into it.
Samuel, good evening. I hope you slept well.
You'll also see as the game continues, our journal will be updated. There is a whole diary here that Sam has been ratting, and it will continue as the game goes on. So you'll be able to get a glimpse into his mind and how he's feeling about everything that we're experiencing in the game. We've got some fun little extra bits, like the fact that he came to Germany on a cruise ship because vampires don't like flying, because it's really not safe to be above the atmosphere. They'll just turn to dust immediately, so it's much safer to just take a coffin on a boat. So since he's on a cruise ship, I'll just read this one. It's been about a week since I boarded the Monster of the Seas cruise ship, and I gotta say I feel finer than frog hair. A real southern phrase, that's an old one I read about. People here are eating and screwing like there's no tomorrow on account of the fact that we're in the middle of the ocean. I've drank from more necks in the last week than I can count. And since the ship's open all night, I rode a water slide for the first time in my own life. People were laughing at me for saying yeehaw, but what else do you say to an experience like that? So yeah, it's just fun stuff, completely optional, just like all the game. We just aim to have fun, so no pressure.
Like the dead, as they say.
I was hoping to save you some breakfast, but I've already sent them on their way.
Because they're people. They're breakfast, but they're also people.
Oh, that's all right. I'm still pretty full from last night. Them goth types were practically throwing themselves at me.
I am not surprised. Perhaps I should be concerned that some of my guests will follow you home.
Well, gosh, if I still had mortal circulation, I'd be blushing.
Why are you so embarrassed, Samuel?
Ah, hell. Guess we should just save it for therapy, huh? We gonna get started now?
If you like.
Why not? I'm eager to get going. Let loose, Doc.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's start with the first question any therapist asks then. What brought you to me? Why is becoming a therapist so important to you?
Well, gosh, I remember what it was like. Being all angry, hungry, and scared all the time. It ain't no way to live.
Those are the vampires that we know. They're always hungry, they're always angry, and they're always violent, and it usually comes from a place of fear. That's what the game is about. So how do we help vampires get over that?
When I see vampires
That's Vampire
acting
Therapist.
the way I used to, I just need to show them there's more to unlife.
And why is that up to you?
You, of all people, know how lost our kind can be. Preying on the weak, dating mortal high schoolers.
I had to make that joke. I'm aware of vampire media.
I've got to make them see their potential. That's what I'm here for. I know it.
That is a lot of responsibility to place on yourself.
You got a funny look in your eye. Am I doing one of them distortion things?
I think it might be.
You are most perceptive. Yes. Perhaps you can tell me what it is. When you say you are here to make vampires see the world differently, in what way are you distorting reality?
We know this one. We know this is a control fallacy because even a real life therapist who has their patients knows that they cannot help everyone. It is the same for vampires.
Well, I guess that's a control fallacy, right? I can't assume I'll be able to help other vampires the way I was helped.
Very good, Samuel. Control fallacies are hard to avoid when one feels strongly about something. Your fate is not to transform every vampire you ever meet, even those who are your clients. You will do what you can do, and that is enough.
There's no choice. We can only do what we can do, and that has to be enough, because if we try to do more than that, we are only going to hurt ourselves.
But I am eager to learn how you developed this desire to help our kin find a different way of thinking.
Well, like I told you when I first V-mailed you, I was a real nasty son of a bitch. When I look back and see what a no-account piece of shit, it all seems pretty stupid to me now. Here we are living forever and all we can do is kill. It's the dumbest thing I ever did here.
I am going to stop you for a moment. Stupid. No, do you hear the way you are talking about yourself?
Nobody's watching now, but we still gotta be careful.
With respect, sir, I earned all them names. I killed women.
The game is
and
for
children.
adults.
Half the ghost towns out west are my doing. I didn't think nobody.
Pretend you are my therapist.
If you think you know everything, this is not the game for you.
No-account piece of shit. What would you tell me?
I'd say
that's
you were
labeling.
doing some labeling. And I guess I'd tell you to look at yourself a little more kindly.
Extend the same compassion to yourself then, Samuel. How are you to move on from being a nasty son of a bitch if you are labeling yourself? If you wish to be a guide to other vampires, you must start with compassion for them and for yourself.
That's the core of the game, really, is compassion for others and for ourselves. And that is a great starting point. Nobody is aiming to be evil from the start. We all have our issues, but if we start with compassion, we can get to the root of it. And I think having compassion as a central element of this world and of this story is what gives it its warmth. And I hope you'll see it when you play the game.
So, now that you've gotten all that horrible name-calling out of the way, please tell me, how did you find your sense of purpose?
Well, I was on the run, you see. The Wild West was ending and the Pinkertons were starting to get the better of my gang. I went into hiding and found a strange group of folks out in the country. They knew I was an outlaw right away, but they didn't judge me for it. They didn't even care that I was a vampire. They welcomed me like a friend, even shared their blood with me. They taught me how to appreciate the beauty of the night, and I started seeing things I'd never noticed before. They taught me my letters, philosophy, and how to question things instead of being scared of them. I think about them every day of my own life. They somehow freed themselves of all the judgments of the time and were better off for it.
These must have been the 19th century American transcendentalists, yes?
This is a big part of the game as well. The 19th century American transcendentalists. This was a movement of people who just wanted to live life as felt natural to them. They were not bound by their religion or by their country, but just appreciating the world and their place in it. And this was like super revolutionary at the time. There were a lot of transcendentalist communities that lived isolated existences or tried to, but they lived by these more humanistic principles. And so having a cowboy that is part of these groups was a good way to go right into therapy. By walking in the woods, he was learning mindfulness. So it was a really great place to start.
Sir. I'm glad I died when I did, because their like just don't exist no more. Once my community died out, I started walking. That was something else they taught me how to do. There ain't nothing like having a walk and a think. I walked in nature for about 90 years and just took in all the grace and beauty of my country.
And America is a beautiful country. Like,
guess
the
I'm
natural
kinda
beauty
selfish,
is
I
crazy.
should have been helping other vampires the way the transcendentalists helped me.
Sounds like a should statement there.
Why?
Why waste 90
Oh, we haven't
years
learned it
walking
yet. We're
when
about to
I
learn
should
it.
have been helping others? Seems pretty obvious to me. I could have done a lot of good in that time.
But your should turns that which you could find fulfilling into a duty. You create an extrinsic motivator. Should statements are another
now we've
cognitive
learned it.
distortion, something created by your own mind. Nature asks almost nothing of you.
All right, there we go. Sometimes we judge others and ourselves with arbitrary rules about how things should be, and then we get hopping mad when our expectations ain't met. Should statements can put a lot of pressure on us, but there ain't too many rules that are universal. Heck, we should probably be dead because our hearts ain't beating, but it seems that ain't true. Well, there we go.
Even if your should comes from a place of good, it creates undue pressure. And what do we do once we are pressured? We resent the shoulds.
Yep.
We procrastinate. And as you know, we have a lot of time to procrastinate.
You got that right. Why do today what you could do next century?
This should resonate.
Exactly. Should statements remove the intrinsic joy from that which you find fulfilling?
Hold on though. Ain't there some things we really should do?
Of course, there are things we must do. But nature herself tells us what they are. We listen closely.
No, sorry.
See whether you
Spaced
can
out
find
there
a
for a
should
moment.
statement
It's been a long
that is
day.
a distortion. I should go to the vampire dentist. You know what they say. If you have bad fangs, you get bad blood.
Well, is it a should statement to say that we should go to the vampire dentist? Seems like that's putting pressure on ourselves, right? Let's do it.
That's the one. No one should go to a dentist. Goddamn butchers.
That is not true. We have to go to the dentist. Our teeth are important to us.
Definitely true for
How
vampires.
long has it been since you've seen a dentist, Samuel?
No, not since the Civil War, and I'd rather keep it that way.
We'll talk about that in another session. Let's try again.
The genesis of that joke is that dentists during the Civil War were often amputating limbs. That's what they did. That's why he calls them butchers.
I should drink blood today.
I should drink blood today. That's a lot of pressure on oneself, right?
Well, I guess if you don't want to drink blood, you don't have to.
But I'll die if I don't. Permanently.
So I guess you should drink blood.
Guess you should drink blood.
Try again. I should take my blood partner Crimson out on a date.
Well, we want to take Crimson out on a date, right? We love Crimson here. So it can't be that
I
one.
should be wary of sexually transmitted diseases.
That's got to be it. We should really be concerned about that.
Well, a sexually transmitted disease would be pretty bad.
We are dead, Samuel. We don't get sexually transmitted diseases. Even the crabs have nothing to eat. Let's try again. I should go to the vampire
Okay,
dentist.
so we got it wrong.
You know what they say?
It must be
I
the
should
Crimson
take my
one.
blood partner Crimson out on a date.
We want to take Crimson out on a date, though. Well, I guess it's the one, so we got to click it.
Saying you should take Crimson out on a date is a should statement. You've turned something you want to do into something you have to do.
That's starting to make sense now. Now we've lost we've lost the joy of taking Crimson out on a date. So, now we have a little bit of a better perspective here.
That's right, Samuel. You know, I couldn't be more pleased with you. Your time in nature was clearly well spent.
Well, thanks, I suppose. But if you don't mind my saying so, I hope you're treating that mortal lady right.
Thank you. Please, ask her yourself.
I hear his laugh is triggering in a positive way. So I'm glad if it's working for people.
I imagine she would share her blood with you. You look like her type.
Hold on. I've only been in Europe for a couple of days. I ain't gonna go after my teacher's girlfriend.
She does what she wishes, and that is why I chose her as my blood partner.
He likes his free thinkers.
Samuel,
Free thinkers
even
like
if he
us,
beats
people who
you,
play Vampire Therapist, the new hit
I
game
think he will be an
on Steam.
excellent therapist.
Available July 18th wishlist and purchased when it comes out on the day.
So far, that good heart of mine hasn't amounted to much, but I'm willing to give it my best shot.
You are uncomfortable with praise, aren't you, Samuel? Every time I say something positive, you find a way to negate it.
Clever, Andromachos.
I just don't think I should be doing any bragging. I spent my first 50 years killing, spent the next 90 walking in the woods. I've tried to walk a better path since then, but I ain't no saint, Auntie.
I did not say you were. Having met several so-called saints, I can attest that none of them were either.
Because he would have met saints. And if you're curious, he didn't meet Jesus, but he was around at the same time.
I understand your discomfort, Samuel. I, too, have done terrible things that I cannot erase. But is erasing the good I have done worthwhile?
Well, I guess when you put it like that, it sounds kind of silly.
It's another cognitive distortion, one that mortal psychologists call disqualifying the positive. I understand that
That's
the
another
actions
one
of your
that
past
we
are
all
difficult
do.
to bear. But what we are here to do is accept reality, with both its positive and negative aspects.
No sense in being humble if, there's no reason to be humble. It's all real.
I am not saying that you should disqualify your negative actions, but merely note when you disqualify the positive ones. Let us try an exercise. See whether you can challenge me when I disqualify my positive deeds. I am Andromachos, one of the most powerful vampires alive.
One of the most powerful? He's 3,000 years old. He's probably the most powerful. I think he's disqualifying the positive.
It's the cognitive distortion.
Oh, darn, it's not that.
Most powerful.
I am not, alas. Regardless, you heard me state my power positively, without my invalidating or downplaying it. Try once more.
See, this is what I'm trying to do, is like every time you get something wrong, you get a little hint at why it was wrong, and you can think about it again.
Before I became the vampire I am now, I did exceptionally terrible things.
Well, isn't he disqualifying the good things that he does now by talking about his terrible things?
Well, that's the one. Of course he done plenty of good stuff, too.
But I wasn't talking about the positive things I have done, Samuel. Let us
So
continue.
we never actually disqualified
I
anything.
have defiled the innocent. I have killed countless people.
Well, isn't that disqualifying the positive? I mean, probably defiled less innocent people too, right?
Ain't you discounting the fact that
Excuse
you
me.
probably killed a lot of bad people, too?
I did, but I still have not distorted reality. Listen
Okay,
carefully.
it's the thing to pay attention to.
The good I now do pales in comparison to the evil I have done.
Okay. This is it, right? This is it. Yes, it is. It is it. I'm not going to tease you anymore.
That's the one. You're literally disqualifying the positive by comparing it to the evil stuff you done.
Well done, Samuel. I believe the recognition of this distortion will serve you well when you start to see clients tomorrow.
Yeah, it's happening.
Whoa, tomorrow? I only just started learning these here cognitive distortion things.
I will, of course, be with you. You needn't worry. I can sense your instincts and will help you.
But tomorrow, I just don't feel ready yet.
My friend, we are never truly ready. But if it would ease your concerns, we can practice with further examples. Would that be helpful to you?
Let's do a couple. I don't want to spoil them, but, there's jokes everywhere.
Yeah,
So,
I think I could use the help.
in general, if you click the thing, I want to reward you for clicking the thing.
Very well, Samuel. Let's try some examples. I will give you a statement, and you find
Just a couple,
cognitive
Sam. We'll get there.
distortion in it. I am far sexier than movie vampires. Therefore, I should be a movie star.
All right, we know this one. It's right in here. Should statements are one of the easier ones to detect because so often we use words like should, like must. That's why I lead with them, because it's, just easier to identify.
Oh, yeah, that's an easy one. That's a should statement right there. But you're not insecure enough to be an actor anyway.
Excellent, Samuel. Would you
I'm an
like
actor.
another
I can make fun of myself. Let's do another
I
one.
cannot consume high-quality blood. I might as well drink blood from Florida.
Well, now I've lost all my potential Florida players. Don't worry. If you're watching this, you're cool. Okay. This sounds like some extreme thinking, so that is usually Nosferatu thinking.
That's Nosferatu thinking, ain't it?
Correct, Samuel. That being said, I am sure there is still decent blood to drink in Florida. But I would bring a test kit anyway. Would you like another exercise?
One more.
I am an antediluvian old fart.
Antediluvian old fart.
Well, that sounds like labeling to me. You ain't just an old fart. Are you actually older than the flood, though?
Do I look that old?
Oh, not at all. I was just...
I am joking, Samuel. Don't worry. The myth of the flood was at least 1,000 years before I was born.
That actually took a lot of time to figure out when was the flood supposed to be. And yeah, if Andromachos is... Wait, no. I think I got the math wrong, so forget it. Never mind.
Would you like another exercise?
Okay, alright. You'll have to buy the game for
I
yourself.
think I'm good.
All right, Samuel.
Or play the demo. The demo's free.
I suggest you get the liter inside you. We have a big night tomorrow.
You can see we have a lot of content in this.
How much is a liter?
So, help me out.
get enough to drink,
Please,
sir.
please wishlist the
You
game.
won't be able to
I
work if you are
also,
hungry or
we have
tired.
265 viewers still with us, so I'm thrilled that you've decided to stick with us instead of checking out whatever's coming next. But I hope this is capturing your attention. I'm really happy you're all here and you're interested in this
please
super freaking weird
I
game.
do have a date with Crimson tonight. I suspect I shall not return until nearly morning.
Kinda close there, Andy.
Oh, yeah, of course. I hope you have a nice night out, Mr. Andy.
You as well, Samuel. Rest in peace.
All right, so one more scene.
Samuel,
We're not going to finish
glad to
with
see you are
this
awake.
client,
The
but we're going to meet our
is
first
on his
client.
way.
What, already? Look, Mr. Andy, sir, are you sure I'm ready for this? These are people's brains I'm messing with.
Oh, we got a journal update. I forgot. Yeah. See, so we get to learn about disqualifying the positive. Oh, I like this one. So Leipzig has a music school. So he talks about it a little bit here. Went for a nice walk exploring Leipzig. There's a music school here, and the kids are always performing stuff. I tried asking for Oh Susanna, but kids today don't appreciate good music. Dang kids with their CD-ROM music. The wax cylinder was fine. I just like CD-ROM jokes, because I remember the days of the CD-ROM, because I'm old and I'm dying. I'm just an old corpse. Oh, dang it, now I'm labeling.
Fear
Anyway.
not, my friend. You are a powerful vampire in your own right. To be so young and have so much empathy is quite a gift. All you need to do is listen, and I know the truth will reveal itself to you.
Shucks, wish I had your confidence.
Well, to a limited extent, I can see the future. If you are about to
Why
misinterpret
not?
the client's distortions, I will set you back on the right path.
You can see the future.
It's not that impressive.
Every
yet.
writer needs
You
a
start to
Deus
see the
Ex
patterns after
Machina
1,000
here and
years
there.
or so.
Well, dang. If seeing the future ain't impressive, that's gotta be a distortion. Disqualifying the positive, it's gotta be.
You barely require my aid as it is. If
That's
you need
right.
guidance, I will provide it to you telepathically. Don't think about it too much. When you are 3,000, such things will cease to impress you. Let us look at your first client's case file.
All right, let's see what we got here.
Drain, huh? You ain't got no first name?
Dr. Drain.
Many vampires go by one name. Families and titles seem to become more abstract after a certain age.
So is it funny that he kept the title?
Interesting point,
Indeed,
Sam.
you catch on quickly, despite your habit of disqualifying the positive. I will let you work now. I shall be meditating in my
All our
coffin,
case files
but I
will
send
also
you
be in
an
here.
email, my help.
So as you continue the game, you'll get to see your patient progress as well as you continue through the game. And with luck, you're going to make them feel better. All right.
But
Samuel, I know you can handle this. Be yourself.
Yes,
and
problematic fave is coming, Sam. You don't even know how problematic. That hasn't happened yet.
Satan bless it all, I hate flying. Hey there. God's blood, what on earth are you? My name's Sam. I'm the new therapist. Make yourself comfortable, Dr. Drain. And American as well. Good God. It's not enough for you lot to take over the world of the living. Even the halls of the dead aren't safe from you.
I wanted all the clients to make a real first impression.
Oh well.
Come out of the
I
gate
suppose
swinging.
You lot are all into this touchy-feely stuff, aren't you?
For the British people watching, I based this particular voice on David Mitchell. He's this particular kind of nerdy that I really wanted to get into. So, starting with that, how could I make this more of a character? So,
And
here you are.
ignorance, even American ignorance, is bliss, I suppose. Oh, sweet ignorance, how I do wish I knew thee. Damn it, how am I gonna work with this fella? I gotta ask Andy.
Are you all right, Samuel?
It's a bug I gotta fix.
You
Don't
gave me
worry
this
about too
fella
much.
as my first client?
Why not? He is clearly hiding very little about his state of mind.
How am I supposed to help him when he already sees me as the bad guy?
Use your instincts,
Yeah,
Samuel.
David Mitchell is such
Think
a
about how
great
you have felt in your
nerd
darkest
character.
hours.
I
What
You'll
does
see
poor
when you play the
vampire
game,
want?
there is a major transformation. Okay, this is one of these sections where we can say anything. So we can say he just wants a reality
I
check.
think he needs a dang reality check, charging at me like an undersexed bull.
If you try to give an undersexed bull a reality check, that would not change the fact that it is undersexed.
Again, we're talking about reality. An undersexed bull is an undersexed bull. There's nothing you can do about that.
How did the transcendent
Well, there is,
process
but I
approach
wouldn't
you
recommend
when
it.
You were a wilder man, Samuel.
Yeah, I get it. I'm sure this fella's come here with problems. I can't be surprised when they show up.
All right, let's let him
He just
complain.
wants to complain.
Perceptive, Samuel. He can hardly stop himself, can he?
So what? I just let him complain?
Of course. Just give him a starting point to let it all out. It will make him feel better.
Well, if you say so.
Don't
All
worry,
right.
Samuel. You are doing wonderfully. I will release your time now.
Well, are you just going to sit there? I was just gonna ask how your trip here was. My trip? My trip was bloody wonderful. Until my
Oh,
familiar
we
got
go
a
more
flat
intense
tire,
even
and I
than
had to fly
Theseus
30
here.
kilometers here as a bat. I hate being a bat and I hate flying. Do you know an owl tried to eat me?
Nobody talks about being a bat as a vampire. I gotta go into this.
A creature that has lived for centuries, treated like common prey. I'm surprised he was even interested. You should see what an ugly little beastie I am when I transform. All I could do was screech and squeak until he went away.
Poor little bat.
I suppose I'm alive, in a manner of speaking anyway. You all right there, pal? Yes, I'm fine. And well, I'm not, of course. I wouldn't be here otherwise. But for the sake of conversational integrity, fine. I take it you read my case file and know why I'm here?
Oh, I didn't read the case file. But don't worry, because again, in Vampire Therapist, you are never punished for clicking any answer. So if something is funny, click it, see what happens. So, that's what we'll do here. I won't click all of them, but I'll do one, because I haven't seen anybody clicking them so far. Sam loves horses. He's a cowboy. He loves horses, so let's do that.
Your horse died. My horse? Do I look like a horse person? Do I look like the kind to strap on a helmet and go for a nice invigorating ride? Perhaps you mistook me for a polo player, someone for whom sport is of great import. I don't even like horses. Horses can be real special. Sometimes there's great beauty in seeing a shamelessly honest soul. That is exactly the sort of thing a horse person might say.
Which I am not. there's a, as George Lucas would say, there's a rhythm. So I know the rhythm, and there's just a way of speaking that this particular British character has, and I wanted to really capture it because it's so much fun. All right, he has an
For
addiction.
an addiction problem. Yes. Embarrassing, isn't it? What's to be embarrassed about? I remember when Ulysses S. Grant was president. Didn't seem to bother him.
Actually, it bothered him a lot, but for the sake of a joke, whatever.
Oh, well, of course. How wonderful it is that I share the mental failings of people who only live a single lifetime. Hey, come on now. There's a part of us that's still mortal. Can't help that, just like we can't help being dead. So I'm discovering. Look, I just need some tips and I'll be on my way. Just give me all the tricks. Whatever one does to make addictions go away. Tips.
Is it
let me
that
think.
simple? Yeah, why not? Maybe it is that simple. What do you think, chat? Should we give him a little, the methadone approach or something else? Or do we want to give him a hug? What do you think? First answer is what I'll do. You can't do the right one because they're all right answers. You get rewarded for all of them. Yeah. So I'll wait. Okay, let's give him a hug.
Would you like a hug?
Would you like a hug?
I can't think of anything I'd enjoy less. I'm not a hugger, if that wasn't patently obvious. And not to give offense, but I fear I might end up with fleas. Hey, come on now. I'm almost entirely sure I don't have any passengers right now. Well, I'm entirely sure I'm not fond of parasites.
Aw, no hug. Maybe we'll get a hug later in the game, but it's not happening now.
Partner, there ain't no tips that'll magically cure you. But I'm here to listen. I never in my life thought anyone would ever call me partner. Like partner, but not with a T. And I know how you English love your tea.
Yuck.
Thank goodness we can still process tea. We cannot live on blood alone. I appreciate the concern, though. I must admit, I rather saw myself above this whole addiction thing.
And that is the problem. This is where the distortions come in, because, we are all slaves to our brains and what they do to us. So, poor guy.
I tell you what, let's not worry about being above or below anything. You're here now, so let's see what we can do. What exactly are you addicted to?
It's a form of plasma, a catalytic compound of my own design, a necessary component of my own scientific goals.
You're losing me.
Easy.
Well, let me try to make it simple. I have been able to replicate and even alter the molecular patterns that vampiric erythrocyte surface receptors receive.
Now you get it.
Our unique physiology gives us an increased ligand affinity, which is how we are able to process blood the way that we do.
I wanted to make it even more complicated, but
I can extend this receptivity and thus achieve my true goal: synthetic blood, freedom from the hunger that plagues us, and hope for all humanity.
Well, damn,
Clever, eh?
That sounds pretty impressive, Doc.
Well, it doesn't work without a vampiric catalyst, and that is the plasma I am addicted to. Pathetic, isn't it? I have spent 400 years trying to steal the secret of blood, only to be engulfed by it, like Prometheus walking into a fireplace.
I like that one.
Pathetic.
myself.
Doc, where the heck would you get a word like that? You've come up with a synthetic blood. Man, I can barely get my spurs on some mornings. Maybe you've had a setback or two, but give yourself a little credit, compadre.
Credit? For wasting 400 years? Practically speaking, I'm in the same place as I was back when King James was in power. Only now I have a drug problem.
This is exactly the phenomenon that I was talking about earlier, where vampires would have a lot of difficulty with living for a long time if they are unable to do something with it. And again, that's a pressure that they can only put on themselves. No one else can do it. So Dr. Drain is suffering because he has been unsuccessful in his mission.
Perhaps I must face facts. My professor was right. Nothing we ever do will make a damned bit of difference.
His professor was William Harvey, who in the early 1600s mapped the circulatory system. This was one of the inspirations behind Dr. Drain, is that this, what did I just say the guy's name was? William Harvey. He had a science experiment where he took a dead pigeon heart and he was able to stimulate it and create this autonomous beating. So my thought was, when a potential vampire would see this, he would think, oh, the heart can beat after death. We can defeat death. This is where Drain came from. It's from real science that was occurring at the time in the early 1600s. So this was a super, super fun game to research.
Samuel, listen to him. Do you recognize his patterns of thought?
There's some distortions in there, ain't there?
I knew you would sense them. Invite him to talk more about this failure of his.
I'll do my best. Now, hold on just a minute there, cowpoke. I've heard you talk a lot about failure, but it sure sounds to me like you ain't thinking clearly if you think you're a failure.
I am a realist, that's all. Look at me. 400 years of study and still dabbling with leukocytes.
Still dabbling with leukocytes. Dabbling with leukocytes. Huh. That's an interesting one. Is it labeling? Is it a should statement? A control fallacy? Nosferatu thinking? No. What do y'all think? I know you can play this game by yourselves already at this point, but might as well open it up to the peanut gallery. We can even open up our journal. We can always look these things up. Oh, here we go. We got some examples, which is nice. The Three Stooges just smack each other in the heads a bunch. There's good stuff about the Three Stooges. Yeah, I can turn into a bat, but any vampire worth their fangs can do that. She rescued a kitten, but she drinks mortal blood every night, so one good deed means nothing. Okay. Well, yeah. Clearly, we're disqualifying the positive here, so I'll just click it.
I don't know many people who would call working with leukocytes dabbling. I mean, I gotta admit, I have no earthly clue what you're talking about. So unless you made up all them science terms, I think you might be doing more than playing with a chemistry set.
Glad the journal is pleasing. There's still work to do on it. This was the hardest element of the game, was making this journal, making it work. Like, this is a 3D journal in a 2D space, which meant that it was a real challenge. But I like the way the pages move. And I love the cover. I like the horse on it.
Perhaps, but if we consider all there is to know about blood, I know precious little. But you know something. Yes, I concede I might know something about blood. I would hope so after 400 years.
You still got more knowledge about blood than most, whether it's been 4 years or 400 years, amigo. Let's get back to what you were saying, though.
I'm saying I am surely the oldest, most well-studied doctor in the world. I should have achieved more than this.
Let's get something wrong just to see what our hint is on this one. So let's do a labeling.
I wonder who told Dr. Drain that he needed to do so much.
All right, so
I'm
that should tell us
saying I am surely
who
the
told
oldest,
him this.
most
He says
well-studied doctor in the
he has to
world.
do something.
I
but
should
who
have
told him
achieved
that?
more than this.
Thus we know it's a should statement.
Well, who said you should
Well, I
have
think at
achieved
least.
more?
I hope the hints are helpful.
Isn't it obvious? I should have something to show for 400 years of work.
He's doing it again. He can't stop himself.
And what happens if you don't?
Absolutely nothing at all.
Well, that's my point.
That is not as encouraging as you think it is.
No, indeed.
Ain't meant to be encouraging, just showing you a little reality.
Well, it's all my fault, really. I cannot seem to motivate my scientists to reach the necessary level of dedication. It's always shocking to me how little urgency mortals have around death.
Yeah. Hold on, let's see what I got here. All right, yeah. I cannot seem to motivate my scientists to reach the necessary level of dedication. Well, that could be anything, really. Well, actually, no. It's in this case, it is a control fallacy because the idea is that he is in control of making sure that his scientists do what they need to do. But the thing is, a scientist is still a person with their own wants, needs, desires, and willingness to be paid fairly. And since I have 225 people watching, I would like you all to think about your industry's union and whether it has one or not. Unions protect us as employees and as people. So if there is one available to you, it's a no-brainer. And if it's time to make one, it is a hard, hard road. But we've given up a lot of rights in the last, certainly in the last 40 years. So it's time to claw some of that back. You know, we deserve pensions, don't you think? This is my soapbox, and I'm not on the Steam main stage anymore. So, and as somebody who's been part of a failed worker representation effort, I gotta say something. You are worthy. That's what this game is about too. It's about you are worthy and you are deserving of good things. Oh, shut up.
So it's all your fault that you haven't come up with the perfect synthetic blood.
Yeah, I see. I lost a few viewers with that one.
It can't be anyone else's fault.
Reagan
Only I have the
fans.
skill, the knowledge, and the experience.
Pardon me for saying so, Doc, but it sounds like what you're doing is pretty dang complicated. It sounds to me like you're some kind of god if you expect control over life itself.
Please, I am a scientist, not a spiritualist. It is not control I seek, but understanding.
And are you ever gonna have perfect understanding?
I really did just steal David Mitchell's personality for this thing. But it goes in an interesting direction. You'll see when you buy the game.
No, of course not. I'm not a wizard.
Yes, goodbye and good riddance, Union Busters. We don't like you, and you don't like yourselves. But play the game, and you may like yourselves, and then we'll like you. You know, it all comes around. It's like poetry.
So how about not putting saving the world on one person, Doc?
That is a simplification, but I take your point. As I was saying, now that I'm addicted to my own drug, I have joined the ranks of mortal celebrities in my utter irrelevance.
He doesn't like celebrities either. Not even David Mitchell. Okay, so now that I'm addicted to my own drug, I have joined the ranks of mortal celebrities in my utter irrelevance. This is one of those cases where there are more than one distortion in a statement. I'm not going to say what the other one is so that you can discover it for yourself. But yeah, there are multiple here. And as the game continues, there will be more orders of complexity. And you are going to get more distortions than these at the bottom. In fact, you get 13 of them. Don't worry, I will not have 13 buttons on screen. That is a very bad idea. But you will have the ability to look at mental health in a really wide variety of ways. So I'm going to do Nosferatu thinking of this one because he says utter irrelevance. This is an extreme. That is not true. Mortal celebrities aren't entirely irrelevant. They're... Well, yeah, I'll just end it there.
That's a pretty dark read on things. You know, lots of folks get over their addictions.
Yes, but not me.
I'm trying to tell you that even if you are addicted, that ain't the end, hermano. You got a lot of life and opportunity left in you. If you can call this life. Now hold on there.
Poor
That's what
Dr.
I call
Drain.
Nosferatu thinking, straight from the coffin. Life ain't all black and white. It's got its shades of gray too, you know.
Oh, well played, cowpoke. Perhaps I am being a little dramatic. Yes, I'm aware that in reality progress has been made, enough to get to this point. But I didn't come here to ask for a pat on the back and to be told I'm a good boy.
Ain't my department, but I hear they do some of that stuff downstairs.
Planting, payoff. First rule of writing. Planting, payoff. If the audience sees it coming, let them have what they want.
Yes, yes, we all know very well that the Continentals are more sexually liberated than we are.
I wanted to say sexually.
But as I say, I don't want all this therapy stuff. I just want to stop using this damn drug.
Well, so what's so good about this stuff anyway? Why do you like it?
I'm not certain. I don't remember what happens after I take it, but I wake up feeling, how do I put this, alive.
Well, that don't sound so bad. A good nap can make me feel like a new man.
I'm not talking about feeling refreshed. I mean I feel alive. As if I'm someone else. Someone who lives. And I wake up and find, oh gracious me, I am not depressed.
You mean to
Sounds
tell
pretty
me
good.
You're going to sleep depressed every night?
Oh, nothing of the sort.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that.
You are assuming that I can simply go to sleep and my global scientific enterprise will run itself.
Oh, wait just a gosh darn
Oops.
minute. You're telling me you don't sleep?
Yes, it's not as though we can get much deader already, and I have work to do.
Remember what I said at the beginning of the stream? If you are still here, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, halt. If any of these things are in play, you are not going to be able to think rationally. So, in this case, he is tired, and he is rejecting being tired. But that is not going to make that problem go away. Only sleep will.
So you're not sleeping, and you're always depressed. I think we're starting to get somewhere.
Oh, don't be such a bumpkin. If you are a sapient individual, aware of the world around you, depression is the only sensible reaction. It has nothing to do with sleep.
If you are a sapient individual, aware of the world around you, depression is the only sensible reaction. There are some keywords that you will start to pick up on as you play the game over time. Only is one of those words, because it's one of these extreme words. I do this myself all the time. Like I do a lot of this all or nothing thinking. Like the game is going to be successful or it's going to be a flop, or like it's only going to be worth it if, you know, whatever, if it's helpful to people. But again, there's always middle ground. So this one is a Nosferatu
Come on
thinking.
now, it's a big world out there, and different things are depressing to different people. Everyone reacts to things differently. Ain't it true that a sensible person, as you call them, might even be a different degree of depressed?
Yeah, we could be a little tiny bit depressed. Oh, baby depressed.
Very well, I suppose I might have been using a bit of mild hyperbole.
Mild is putting it mildly, buckaroo.
Buckaroo? Now I'm even more depressed.
There's the David Mitchell coming through again.
Regardless, I didn't come here to be a whiner. Oh, boo-hoo, on life is hard. Yes, we all know it's hard.
Indeed it is. But calling himself a whiner, that ain't right.
Now why'd you say coming and talking to me makes you a whiner?
Is that not what I currently am?
Sounds to me like you're expressing yourself. Whiner is the word you used. Yeah, if you want to call it whining, that's up to you. But that's entirely your label.
Oh, very well, call it moaning or whinging if you prefer.
Whinging. Very British word there.
Moaning, whinging, bellyaching, still all just labels.
I don't believe I shall be using the term bellyaching in any case. But as I was saying, in the moments I wake up, I feel free. I suppose it must be what being an ignoramus feels like.
He loves insulting himself. Yeah, this is another one that has multiple distortions in it. But I'm going to pick on the fact that he's calling himself an ignoramus, which is labeling. Why does he have to call himself names? What is it doing for him? Sam, take it away.
You honestly think feeling good makes you an ignoramus?
The phrase ignorance is bliss is most apt, don't you think?
But by calling yourself an ignoramus, you're making bliss something to be avoided.
Wise words from the cowboy.
Yes, unfortunate how that works, isn't it? The only way to be happy is by being a fool.
Partner, those are your labels. Try using something more positive and see how you feel.
What, shall I say that by being ignorant, I am a noble genius?
Still just labels.
Oh, very well. I suppose I might be discounting my experience. I don't know how to say this, amigo. You really don't like letting yourself be happy. Honestly, I'm failing to see the problem with taking this stuff. Seems like it's making you get the rest you need and it makes you feel good. What's the problem? First of all, I do not need to rest. And partaking of this plasma does have downsides.
Wrong. Halt. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. He needs to rest. He needs to eat. He needs to have friends. What am I missing? Hungry. Oh, and he needs to chill out. Angry. He's angry, and he's angry because he's not sleeping. I get it. I've been going to sleep at like 6 a.m. ever since releasing this demo, fixing bugs. So I got a lot of that in me.
Well, what kind of downsides?
But I'm glad you're playing it. I am glad you're playing it.
I do not know what happens when I partake of the substance. However, when I wake up, I feel refreshed. But I also smell of blood and sex. Once I even woke up wearing a football jersey. It was most distasteful.
More of that David Mitchellism. No fate more horrible than wearing a football jersey.
I guess you must be having some kind of good time. That is not my idea of a good time. I'm Dr. Drain. I am intelligent and worldly, not some ill-bred monster. I don't go gallivanting into godforsaken places to engage in depraved coitus and the consumption of dirty blood.
I've watched streamers play, and a few of them have pointed out the pronunciation of this word. It is coitus. Look it up in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, or whatever dictionary you prefer. Go ahead and hit the read aloud, and you will find that it is coitus. And Dr. Drain would say it properly. This is another thing with vampires. If they are saying a word, they're going to keep saying it the way they've always said it. So say it properly, or don't say it at all. Nosferatu thinking. And yet.
It sounds to me like you're real good at denying yourself things. Well, I should be better at it.
Class. What is it, class? What he should be better at denying himself things? This is like a 6-second delay or something. But I'm just going to sit here and wait. Because we got 15 minutes left. We are playing Vampire Therapist here. If you are newly joining us, you're probably not. You've probably stuck around through the whole thing, which is really awesome that you stuck around for this whole thing. We're going to be at 2 hours and 15 minutes. And you're here playing Vampire Therapist with me. I am honored you're here. Yes, indeed, Jellybone. It is a should statement. Let's do it.
You know, Doc, a wise old vampire recently told me something.
Thank you, Sam.
I'm about
Yes.
to tell you. You keep talking about the things you should be doing. You, compadre, are shoulding all over yourself.
That one's from my therapist. She said I could use it.
Oh, well, that is vivid, isn't it? I can now add incontinence to my already considerable list of faults. I'm being serious. I'm listening to you tell me I should be doing this, and I shouldn't be doing that. But who gave you all them shoulds and shouldn'ts? I don't know. It shouldn't matter, should it? I've been dead for over 400 years. It's the oldest stuff that sticks with us, amigo. We all got traumas. Heck, we're dead men. That's traumatic no matter what. What we gotta start with is you. You've been through a lot. Don't rope yourself up so tight. Listen, we're doing good work already, I know it. Now, let's not push too hard. I would really like you to think about where all them shoulds are coming from before we meet again.
And we will meet again.
And be good to yourself, all right, partner? Don't feel like you gotta go cold turkey on that plasma stuff. Yes, well, all the same, I'd rather not do it at all. Is that actually gonna happen, though?
Again, reality. Is it going to happen?
It might.
It might.
You're
Very
committed
British
to
there.
that, aren't you? I was thinking about it.
Of course.
All right, partner. Just give yourself a little compassion. That's all I'm asking. I'll admit, you've given me some things to think about. Not pleasant ones, mind. You can handle it, partner. You're way smarter than I am. Yes, well, that is certainly true. Very well. I shall do some reflecting, inasmuch as our kind can reflect.
Vampire joke. Vampire joke, anyone?
I shall see you in precisely 4 weeks, then. Farewell, Sam.
Masterfully done, Samuel. I knew you would do well, but that doesn't make me any less pleased.
There's supposed to be a bat effect there. It'll be fixed in the final game.
Well, that was a hell of a rush. That fella's holding on tighter than a holster to a gunslinger's hip. It felt real good to help him look at himself a little more kindly.
Good, Samuel. Treasure this feeling. But also rest.
It feels good
Go downstairs,
to help other people
get
feel
something
good.
to drink, relax in your
Feels
coffee.
good for us too.
Next week you shall see a new client. I think they will be an interesting challenge for you. I bid you good evening, Samuel. Rest in peace.
You too, Andy.
This isn't even the end of the demo.
This time I got me some grub.
There's a whole second client in there. We'll take a little break here in the club, because the therapy stuff is intense.
My first client. Can't believe I'm doing this therapy stuff already. Sure could use a drink. I'll check in with Crimson.
Well, if it isn't Yosemite Sam, how you doing tonight, partner?
Better already, hearing from someone from the States who knows the lingo.
I'm not from any states, cowpoke. District of Columbia girl here.
No taxation without representation, my DC friends. I'm a DC person myself, was born in DC, and yeah, they don't have congressional representation, which is not right, because yeah, there's a lot of nasty folk in there.
I figured you must have been coastal. You sound a little more polished than I do.
You should hear my German.
I'm glad you like the rest in peace. I stick with it.
Maybe some other
Got
time.
some really
My
crazy
brain's
clients
full
in this
tonight.
game. Well, not
I had
crazy.
my first
Shh,
therapy
didn't say
session
that
with a
word.
real client.
I mean crazy as in, like, you know, out there. They're vampires.
Oh, yeah? How do you think it went?
Okay. Well, it went great, but I'm going to say it was awful because, you know, not every player is going to feel confident.
Well, thinking about it in hindsight, it was pretty dang awful. This fella comes in talking about leukocytes and plasma, and I'm just sitting there with my slack jaw. When I was stealing from wagons, he was doing organic chemistry or some shit.
You know, I used to feel just like you did back when I was working with high-powered lobbyists and policymakers. I felt like a complete imposter, but the more time I spent with them, the more I understood that they were just as insecure as I was.
This is my literary inspiration, is working with people in DC who are supposed to be powerful, but indeed are incredibly insecure. Highest levels of government are run by insecurity. Actually, all humanity is run by insecurity. That's why I made this game, because we need to address the insecurity, or otherwise it's just going to eat all of us up.
Common mortality, Andy calls it.
Common mortality.
Nobody's got it figured out, cowboy.
We're all living on this planet, and it ain't easy for any of us.
Yeah, I reckon you're right. He's a smart fella, but he's just as human as I am.
That's right.
Anyone ever tell you you're wise beyond your years, Crimson? You must have had some life.
Afraid I'm exactly as wise as my years. How old do you think I am, cowboy?
Oh, how old do we think Crimson is? I feel like I want to remove this choice because everyone picks it, but it's also funny, so I guess I'll do it. Let's do the honest one. She looks around 30. Let's do the honest
You're
one.
somewhere around 30, right?
Close, but very far away.
Very far away, indeed.
I'm 50 years young.
Aha. I'll let that sink in. She looks good for 50, doesn't she? Yeah, she's awesome. I love her design. I think this was like a first take from Zabilla, our character artist. And I was like, nope, done. No notes, perfect. In the game. This is the nice thing about, you know, running a game like this, is I just get to make these executive decisions and say, like, nope, we're done. Perfect. I got it tattooed on my wrist. Good enough. Because I wanted to remember when things are good enough. She's more than good enough. But yeah.
50? I died around that age and I looked like shit.
Like I told you, I'm Andy's blood partner. He shares his blood with me too, just not enough to turn me into one of you. I've been 30 for a good while now.
But you ain't joining our team? Sounds like a story.
Not for tonight, buckaroo. I bet you're thirsty after a big night. Andy told me to give this to you.
Oh yeah? What is it?
Pretty bottle.
We had a group of Americans come in last week who donated their blood. Andy can't stand the stuff. He says the blood glucose levels are too high, but he thought you'd appreciate it.
Yeah, Francesca Mo playing Crimson, and she did a fantastic job. That was a great session. And yeah, plenty of American jokes. I'm an American. I gotta make fun of myself.
Oh, it ain't so bad. I gotta ask though, what does Andy's blood taste like?
To me, it tastes like life itself, cowboy.
That's a deep line. What could that mean?
I ain't sure I understand.
Never you mind. Look, Tex, I've got some customers.
You gotta
to
play
serve,
the full
so go
game
enjoy your juice,
to see what
okay?
she actually means.
Oh, of course. I'm keen to get some rest anyway. You have yourself a fine night, Crimson.
Alright, so, this is where we're going to stop, because we don't have time for another client, and I want them to be a surprise anyway. But thank you to everyone for joining. I'm so glad to be here participating in Next Fest and getting so many of you to stick around for this entire broadcast. I didn't know what was going to happen at the top of the hour, but you all stick around, and I really appreciate it. If you are interested in the game, please wishlist it. Please play the demo. I think that if you play the demo, you're gonna like the game. You're either gonna love it or hate it. That's some Nosferatu thinking, but I think in this case, the Nosferatu thinking is true. Because, yeah, if you're ready for, listen to a lot of personal growth and all this therapy stuff, if you're into this, you are going to have a good time. So the game is releasing on July 18th. It will retail for $14.99 US. That will translate to whatever Steam makes it in other currencies. But I wanted to make an affordable game. I don't think I could charge more than that anyway, just because, I don't have shoot dodging, and I don't have 3D graphics, and I don't have live service. There's no live service anything. This is a single-player game, and you can have a fantastic time playing it. It's a lot of content. Based on what I've seen from people playing, there's going to be a good 25 to 30 hours of gameplay content, perhaps more than that if you spend a lot of time with it. But it's a game that you can play at your own pace. Let it be a slow burn. I'm proud of it. I think it's a good game, and I think you're going to enjoy it as well. So again, please wishlist, and please buy the game when it comes out for $14.99. Tell your friends about it. They may enjoy it as well. And with that, I would like to bid you all a fine day, evening, wherever it is, wherever you are. I hope that you will rest in peace. Good night, everyone. See you next time. I'll be doing this again on Thursday. It's been lovely. Have a lovely Next Fest, everyone. Goodbye.